Friends, we're going to go ahead and begin our practice. And the first thing I'd like to do is set the intention for our meeting today with a lovely sentiment of metta. I'd also like to just encourage you today, if it's available, to take a noble posture, a posture that is seated and strong. It's going to serve you well for your practice today. This little hand painting, this little sentiment of metta reads, "May your innocence be restored. May your innocence be restored." Welcome, everyone. This is Recovery Dharma. My name is Julia. I'm one of the facilitators in the Spokane Sangha, and it is such a joy to be here today, practicing with you all and talking about our theme for the month, which is the cultivation of boundaries. What I'd like to do today, and I mentioned this yesterday, is to create some imagery in the mind that enables you to engage a couple of things related to the foundations of Buddhism, namely the four foundations of Buddhism, which we have talked about a number of times this month, as well as one of the limitless qualities that we try to cultivate. Today, we are going to be cultivating loving kindness. And we're going to be using the imagery of boundaries to offer this with a degree of neutrality and equanimity. What I'd like to invite you to do is, if it's available and comfortable to you, close your eyes, or at the very least, keep your eyes slightly open, but your gaze is a bit inward and down. Find something to look at, just to minimize the visual distractions. And imagine yourself surrounded by four low walls. I call them balaclohes. That means in Gaelic stone wall, and they're only about knee high. By having these four borders around us, they enable me in a bordered space to see you in your bordered space, and another person and another person and another person. So rather than building enormous walls that I cannot see over, I don't know what's happening on the other side, the cultivation of a balaclohe as a boundary is creating a sacred border of pause to gain understanding. Plant yourself in your space and make your space in your mind's eye beautiful, a place that you'd like to take refuge and sit calmly and reflectively. Have it be an environment for joyful curiosity and wonder. And as you're looking at the boundaries, these little walls that are facing into your space, notice that they are labeled. One is labeled body. Another is emotion. Another is mind. And another is story. These four walls facing inward are reminders for you of the four foundations of mindfulness. And it's an opportunity for you to explore self-awareness. What's happening in my body right now? What's happening with my mood? What are my thoughts doing? There's no judgment here. Your thoughts might be racing. Your thoughts might be rambling. It's all fine. Just notice. Likewise, maybe you have a story that's unfolding in your mind, something that happened earlier in the day, something that you might be worrying about later on this afternoon. Again, invite yourself to notice without judgment. I have a story going on right now. Look at that. And breathe. Allow yourself to be fully present to yourself exactly as you are, full acceptance, connected to the earth beneath your feet, connected to the cosmos above. The wholeness of you exactly as you are, well loved and protected. And let's just breathe that in for a moment and take notice of what's going on for ourselves. Friends, we're now going to extend our gaze out of our own personal space and take notice of somebody on the other side of one of these four walls. And we're going to use sort of the classic meditation of metta, loving kindness, offering loving kindness to someone on the other side of a wall who is easy to love, someone you are highly animated with, somebody who, no matter what they're doing in their life, whether they're skillful or unskillful, you can see beyond the layers of confusion and at their core see them, and you can't help yourself but love them. On the other side of a second wall connected to you is someone you like. Someone who's an acquaintance, maybe a coworker. Somebody that you see regularly, connect with, feel a degree of neutrality about, but have some connection. On the other side of a third wall is a complete stranger. Maybe somebody you saw earlier today, maybe a person that you had an interaction with on a telephone or at a grocery store or a doctor's office, just some random person that arises in your consciousness. And on the other side of that fourth wall is someone who is very challenging to you. Maybe somebody who's hurt your feelings. Somebody who really stirs some difficult emotions. Somebody who brings forward judgment. Maybe even a little resentment. The cultivation of limitless qualities is an invitation for us to offer today loving kindness to each of these people with equanimity. And that is difficult to do. It's one thing to think about it. It's another thing to look at the person we don't like, the person we feel really challenged by, and offer them loving kindness. And so the way to practice is to begin with the person that you love. So let's play that the person you love is struggling. For whatever reason, maybe they're sick, maybe they're holding some anxiety, maybe they have some disappointment. They're just fumbling around in their own space. And you find yourself going to the wall, bearing witness to your loved one on the other side. And in an act of love and care, you may find yourself jumping the wall and getting into their space and trying to help them. Sometimes that is a beautiful thing to do. Sometimes it is not. Today, it is not. Today, our practice is to stay on our side of the wall and simply learn to bear witness to our loved one suffering and offer them loving kindness. Because just like me, I suffer, and I don't always want people to interfere, even when their intentions are to be helpful. Sometimes I want to be empowered to figure things out in my own time and in my own way. And what I need is a little bit of space and a lot of encouragement. So, from our side of the balaklohe, let's offer encouraging loving kindness to the one that we love. May you feel seen and supported. May you feel my presence of love and kindness. May you feel seen and supported. May you feel my presence of love and kindness. Moving on to the acquaintance, your coworker, and once again, they're having a rough day. And maybe they're a little prickly in their tone and manner. And maybe on your side of the wall, you feel a little judgment arising, like, wow, that wasn't very professional. Would you look at that? Their prickliness has now just become my prickliness. Fascinating. Just like me, this person I barely know can be prickly. How human is that? They're suffering, and I know suffering. So, from my side of the balaklohe, I'm going to bear witness to this person and offer them thoughts of loving kindness. May you feel seen and accepted. May you feel my presence and love and kindness. Just like me, I can be unskillful, and the last thing I want is to be judged or rejected. So may I offer that out. May you be seen and accepted. May my presence be energy of loving kindness. Now we're going to come to the more challenging people that we will encounter. And the first is a stranger. And maybe this stranger that you've encountered has all kinds of attitude coming at you. Maybe it's an aggressive driver. Maybe it's an adolescent at the grocery store who is just putting the peanut butter jar on top of your loaf of bread, and they're just so checked out, right? And it's frustrating, and you find yourself watching them and all of their own irritation and confusion. And what's fascinating about this individual is how the focus tends to be on their behavior, what you see going on in their space, and it's harder to see past the behavior to their core Buddha nature. It's easy to do with somebody you love, but with a stranger, we can't seem to get past those layers of behavior. So it takes a little bit more effort. It takes a little bit more presence. We might actually have to step away from the wall a little bit and return to ourselves, return to our own practice for just a moment. And remember, wow, just like me, I have the capacity to be rude, to be unskillful, to be out of touch, asleep, unaware. And when I'm in those states, I cause the conditions of dis-ease, unpleasantness, interference, confusion. And I am here to practice being of benefit. So I'm going to step back toward the wall and see this person in their state of whatever it is. And I'm going to see them. I'm going to see their Buddha nature just like me, and wish for them to be seen and accepted. May my presence here offer you loving kindness. May my presence here be one of loving kindness. That's it. It may or may not affect this individual, but that's not the point. The point is that you are not picking up their habit energy and reacting in response. You are staying on your side of the balaklohe in practice, offering loving kindness no matter the weather going on in their space. And that is a radical act of connection. And now we come to someone who challenges us deeply, who stirs up all of our discursive thinking, all of our aversion, all of those difficult emotions that just make it difficult to stay practiced. We jump the wall into their space, cleaning up their mess. They throw stuff into our space, we throw it right back. We patrol the wall, telling them what to do, judging them for all the ways they do things wrong. And for me, whenever I encounter a challenging person, especially when I see them acting out, maybe in their habit energy, maybe in their confusion, maybe some karma is ripening, I know I'm in a negative space when I can't see past all of that. I can't see their Buddha nature. And I start telling a story that, yeah, they probably deserve that. They did that to themselves. There have been times where, in my own confusion, I have felt glad that they were suffering. How terrible is that? It's a really confused mind state. So I have to move myself away from the boundary here, give myself lots of space, and come back to myself and remember no one wants to suffer. All sentient beings want to feel ease, peace, connection, belonging. All of us have wounded hearts, soft, tender places within, many through legacies of karma are just layered and hardened by confusion and heartache. So no wonder we can't see that tender space, but it's there. So when I'm ready, when I've checked in with myself, at the very least, I remember, just like me, this person who really challenges me, who I'm afraid of, who I absolutely don't like, who I can't relate to at all I want to do is reject and walk away from. At the very basic level, this individual doesn't want to suffer, just like me. So I stand with some distance and I offer the warmth of loving kindness. May you be free of suffering. I see your confusion. May it ease. And may my presence here be one of loving kindness. When we are boundaried within the four foundations of mindfulness, we are protected and we can engage anyone no matter where they are on their own journey. We do not have to get into their space. We do not have to pick up what they're tossing. We can simply keep adding to the conditions of loving kindness. ease of suffering, acceptance. This is a magnificent thing to bring into the world. It requires courage and patience, and above all things, it requires practice. So let's just take a moment of silence and let this practice sink in. Remember, friends, when we practice, we're going to make lots of mistakes. We're not here to get it perfect. Practice isn't about perfection. Practice is about practice. Alrighty, friends, let's go ahead and end our practice today with a dedication of merit. And what I'd like to do today is just chant for you just the recognition of taking refuge in the three jewels of Buddhism. The Buddha, who was this real human being, Siddhartha Gautama, who was able to awaken to the conditions of his own suffering. And one of the things that he represents is because he cultivated that capacity, that means we can cultivate that capacity too. And one of the brilliant legacies that he left that is alive and well today are his teachings, the Dharma. And so we can learn from his experience how to awaken to the conditions of our own misery and transform it for the benefit of all beings. And one of the places to practice that is in community, the collective soul of belonging, otherwise known as the Sangha. So we take refuge in these brilliant three jewels, and I'm just going to chant 3 times the word Namo. And Namo means with a wide open heart, I bow. And if you know this, you can chant with me. It's very, very simple. It goes like this. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Dharmaya. Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Dharmaya. Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Dharmaya. Namo Sanghaya. Thank you so much, friends. We'll see you next time. Namaste.